It cannot honor its agreements. It cannot stomach the idea of democratization happening in the country. It's bent to rule the country single-handedly. But today we see that there are some overtures that some countries are also dealing with, on the basis that it is cooperating on the international terrorism aspect. But are the issues of Sudan only international terrorism? We have the war in the south, which now has engulfed the whole country. There is lack of democracy. The people are being displaced from their own locations because the regime wants to exploit oil. So what do we do? My answer is, the regime must go. It's not negotiating with it that will make it change. We have tried. In that agreement, if it were serious, peace would have come. But it is not serious. But we have a big task to do. The world sees the struggle is united. One reason which this regime could have used. The struggle is now united. Still the world sees that it does not have an alternative. Can we not provide an alternative instead of trying to do the impossible of reforming the regime from inside? I believe we can do that. It only needs us to correctly identify the issues that make the Sudanese people disagree. One fundamental issue is the war in the South, is the political demand of the people of the South. The other fundamental issue is the restoration of democracy. Can we in the opposition provide an alternative? I believe we can do that if we can reach a basic minimal program in all the opposition sector, not only in the SPLA, but also in the NDA. And this is the challenge today that we must discuss among ourselves. Individuals, political groups, political movements, to come up with a viable alternative. And this, as I said before, is a necessity. It is not transforming the regime into, or making the regime transform itself into an alternative. We have tried it. And I believe Sadiq al-Mahdi, with the 1 year he has gone in, he has tried. Therefore, today our challenge is, can we make that? Well, I throw it is a debate. And since I have made that point, I don't need to go ahead. Thank you very much.
May I call upon the members that please do not interrupt. There will be ample time for you to raise your concerns through questions allow them to finish what they are said to us. Okay. No.
Let me begin by greeting and thanking Elder Gordon Mottad for his revolutionary words, and greet all of you, elders, fellow citizens, sisters, brothers, compatriots. I wish you all a Happy New Year. Although we are in March, we have I'm happy to see this, the faces here, which as I look from left to right and in depth, I see it as a reflection of what we have called the New Sudan. Because I'm seeing here people from everywhere in the Sudan, people from the south, people from the west, people from the center, people from the far north, people from the east. It's difficult to tell, like in Intobishuf. Let me also greet and thank the friends of the Sudan who have come to attend this occasion. Elder Gordon Mottad's main emphasis was the issue of unity, which is very dear to our hearts. And we have started the year 2002 precisely with that. We have declared the year 2002 the year of reconciliation, peace, and unity. And my brother, Dr. Yagmachar, has just emphasized that we are committed to the peace, reconciliation, and unity that we have signed and that we have worked out. We have also, as some of you might have heard recently, also signed a unity accord with the Sudan Alliance Forces of Brother Abdulaziz Khalid. And so the year 2002 is not only for unity in Southern Sudan and among Southern Sudanese, but it is a unity of all the people of the Sudan that have a case against what has happened in our country since 1956. And so I salute also that agreement that we reached with the brother Abdulaziz Khalid in Asmara 2 days ago. And on this basis of the coming together of the Sudanese in their struggle for a better future, I am hopeful and confident that this year 2002 will usher in a new era of a just peace that is based on achievement of full and total freedom, so that our long-suffering people engage in socio-economic development and achieve prosperity and stability in their lives. An era of peace, stability, development, and prosperity for all Sudanese. In planning this encounter with you, or what should I call it, encounter? In planning this encounter with you, I had debated in my mind whether it should be a briefing on the situation in the country, whether it should be a lecture, whether it should be a dialogue. I decided to go for a combination of these on all three so as to give justice to this day. A briefing would be too shallow, as I would mainly be talking about the current political and military situation in the country, which is of course important, but would not give the depth to the important subject of the liberation struggle. A lecture, on the other hand, would become a monologue with me talking to you, which is not my intention. Finally, a dialogue, while it is most desirable, might not give sufficient background to the subject matter. For these reasons, I decided to have all three. And so let me begin my encounter with you with a lecture or a semi-lecture. I'll divide my presentation into 6 interrelated parts. 1, I'll give a brief problem statement, its background and context. That may bore you because you know it, but bear with me. We have to give background to things. The second second issue I will address is the response of the SPLM-SPLA to the problem that I will state, which is essentially talking about the objectives of the liberation struggle. The third issue I would want to cover is the new Sudan. The new Sudan as a vision and as a method of the liberation struggle. The fourth issue I would like to cover is the new Sudan again as a method for achieving peace and self-determination. The fifth area I would like to cover, I'll try to be quick, so don't be frightened by the list of the subjects that I want to cover. The fifth will be a brief briefing on the present political and military situation in the country, since I presume you would be interested in that. And it will not be just for me not to talk about it, since you expect it. And the last one will be the dialogue with you, and that will involve myself and the rest of the delegation. If we are agreed on that, since we are in a democratic world, I suppose we are agreed. are agreed, therefore let me begin. The problem. المشكلة شنو? As you all know, Sudan has been at war within itself for 46 years of independence. And it's quite a common sense question to ask, why would any community subject itself to decades of war? In these decades of war, our people have been subjected to immense suffering. Generations have been lost to illiteracy. In the first war, it is now statistics, that is the Anyanya War, of which I was a member. It is estimated that between 750,000 and 1.5 million people died in that war. Now, in this war, people talk about 2 million people dying as a result of war and war-related causes. Human memory being what it is short. Nobody very few people are thinking anymore about the suffering and loss of lives in the first war. They are captured by the intensity of this war, which has already caused a lot of suffering. So why is this happening? In my view, the attempt by various Khartoum-based regimes to build a monolithic Arab Islamic state to the exclusion of the other parameters of the Sudanese diversity constitutes the fundamental problem of the Sudan and defines the Sudanese conflict. There is war in the Sudan simply because the Arab Islamic state or Islamic Arab state that there is can only be imposed by force. And that logically leads to instability and war. It is not true. It contradicts reality that Sudan consists only of two primary factors, Arabism and Islamism. It's much more than that. And I'm not making this up. I'm not making it up. Even in your sitting here, you are different. We have Moor, we have Nuba, we have Dinkas, we have Nuers, we have Sanders, we have Bija, we have Ingasina, we have Arabs, we have, and among the Arabs we have the Bagara, we have the Reshaida, and the Reshaida incidentally are comrades in arms with me in the Eastern Sudan. So you see, I'm not making it up. God made it. This is the reality of our country. They are all Sudan. This is its diversity. There are two forms of diversity that I can briefly allude to. Historical diversity. When you go through the corridors of history, you will find that the present geographical Sudan existed in various forms. Books of antiquity, including the Bible, talks about the Sudan as Kush, and many of you have read Isaiah chapter 18 and many other verses of the Bible. But then you come to the ancient kingdoms of Wawat, of Irtat, of Majda, of Anu. There is a story that the ancient Egyptians, when they made sacrifices to their gods, one of these gods was the Anu. The god Anu controlled the waters, Egypt is the gift of the Nile. And the Nile is the gift of the Sudan. And so this god Anu was in the Sudan, وبودي مويه ده كان مبسوط and it will prevent this مويه إذا زعلان. Now the gods are angry. Because of the war. This Anu in some historical references refers to the Anuak tribe. God Anu. Hasab al-Tarikh. It is connected with the Anuak. This is history. Again, I'm not making it up. The more youth. Then you come to more recent times of Christian Nubia, Marawi, Makuria, Soba, down to the period after Christ, 300 AD, up to 1500, when these kingdoms collapsed and were superseded as a result of Arab migrations into the Sudan and the spread of Islam from the 17th century to the present. This is again Sudanese historical continuity. These kingdoms were superseded by the modern Islamic states of the Funj, of Darfur, and others, down to 1820 or thereabouts, when the Turco-Egyptian occupation of the Sudan happened or occurred, and a new period began, up to the Mahadist state in 1885 to 1998, down to the Anglo-Egyptian condominium of 1898 up to independence in 1956. And then you take the independence period from 1956 to the present, and maybe I will take also a special period of the NIF regime from 1989 to the present. Some people, when they think of the Sudan, depending on their bias, some start with the Sudan beginning in 1820, as if we were not there. We were there. The fact that I am here is a proof that I was there. I did not pop up from nowhere. The NIM would say that Sudan started in 1989. And some would say that Sudan started in 1956. My contention is that Sudan has always been there. As we have seen in our long history, peoples and kingdoms have lived, thrived, and disappeared in the geographical area that constitutes the present modern Sudan. Of course, some people would argue that this is all rubbish. Nasdel Khan Mafashin. It is an attempt, of course, to derail you from history. And if you don't have roots in history, then you are a nobody. Any struggle must be anchored in history. Our contention in the SPLM-SPLA is that the Sudan belongs to all the peoples that now inhabit the country, and that its history, its diversity and richness is our common heritage and inheritance. You are there. That is historical. This historical diversity defines the present Sudanese. والأمثال فيه يعني مثلا if you take Sudanese music خاصة في الشمال, it is more akin to Eritrean and Ethiopian and Somali music than it is to Saudi Arabian music. I'm not making it up.